गिरिवरधारी यशोदनन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जन यमुनातीरावनचारी यमुनातीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा मुरलीधर श्री राधे जय राधा मुरलीधर श्री राधे जय गौरचंद्र गौरचंद्र जय 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 जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Welcome everyone. Let me just share with you all the screen on the verses that we are doing for today. We're just doing 3 verses today. Okay, my screen is loading. Okay, yes, I think now it should be good to go. Okay, so we are reading today from Canto 10, chapter 59, verses 31 to 33. And so this is the first verse. Tasyatmajoyam tava pada pankajam bhita pramanarti haropasaditāh Tatpalayanam kuruhasta pankajam Shirashi amusyakhila kalmashapaham. Translation. Here is the son of Bhaumasur. Frightened, he is approaching your lotus feet, since you removed the distress of all who seek refuge in you. Please protect him. Place your lotus hand, which dispels all sins, upon his head. Purport by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Here the earth goddess seeks protection for her grandson, who has been frightened by all the terribly violent events that just took place. Verse 32. Shri Shuka Uvacha Iti Bhumi Arthito Vagbhir Bhagavan Bhakti Namraya Datva Bhayam Bhaumagriham Pravishat Sakalardhimat. Shukdev Goswami said, thus entreated by Goddess Bhumi in words of humble devotion, the Supreme Lord bestowed fearlessness upon her grandson, and then entered Bhaumasur's palace, which was filled with all manner of riches. And our last verse for today. Tatra Rajanya Kanyanam Sat Sahasradhikya Kayutam Bhauma Hartanam Vikramya Rajabhyo Dadrashe Hari. There Lord Krishna saw 16,000 royal maidens, whom Bhauma had taken by force from various kings. Purport. Srila Shira Swami provides evidence from the sage Parashar as quoted in the Vishnu Puran 5:29-31 to the effect that there were actually 16,100 royal maidens imprisoned in Bhauma's palace. So in the translation, it is mentioned 16,000, but in the purport, it's mentioned 16,100. So that's the difference. And so the verse from Vishnu Puran is Kanye Pure Sakanyanam Soda Shatulya Vikramaha Shata Shatadhikani Dadrishe Sahasrani Mahamate. Within the maiden's quarters, O wise one, that lord of unequal prowess found 16,100 princesses. Another relevant verse from Vishnu Puran 529.9 is as follows. Deva Siddha Suradhina Ripanam Cha Janardana Hritva Hi So Sura Kanya Rurudha Nija Mandire. That demon, Bhaumasur, kidnapped the unmarried daughters of demigods, Siddhas, Asuras, and kings, O Janardhan, and imprisoned them in his palace. Om Agyantimirandhasya Gyananjanashalakhaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagra Jatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Peshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. So, welcome everyone to today's Srimad Bhagavatam class, and I seek the blessings first of all the assembled Vaishnavas here, those at the temple, on as well as those online, especially our very senior devotees, Adi Purush Prabhu, Arjuna Prabhu. The blessings, so I can speak something which is relevant and uplifting in our deep realizations, in our love for Krishna conscious, in our love for Krishna. So these verses today bring about some very important aspects of Krishna that we hear about time and again, and we forget also time and again. These very I'm not going to say basic qualities, but these very, very important qualities of Krishna, which endear him to the devotees. So, what we're discussing right now is about Bhaumasur, or otherwise known as Narkasur, who was the son of Bhumi Devi and Varahadev. And the city in which Bhaumasur lived in was Pragjyotishpur, which is, I believe it's currently known as Guwahati now, which is in the northeastern part of India. And this Bhaumasur was actually, Bhumi Devi was raised from the Garbhodak ocean by Lord Varahadev, and by his divine touch, Bhumi Devi was impregnated, and she gave birth to Bhauma, that is the son of Bhumi. And he was good earlier in his early days, but by the evil influence of demons like Banasur and Vivida, he became evil-minded just like them. And he did some very nasty things. And when I say nasty, it means really very nasty things. Like he kidnapped, as we read in the verses, he kidnapped the daughters of various demigods, kings, so many celestial personalities. And like, okay, it's one thing to defeat a king, but it's another thing to hit a person more where it hurts them the most. That's being really nasty. You're taking someone who's very, very, you're taking someone away from, from someone who's away from you, who's someone very precious to you. Like for a person, their daughter, is someone who, in general, is someone who they hold very precious. So he wanted to basically insult the kings outright and insult the whole family. So yes, they were imprisoned and they were very, very sad and forlorn, that and they had a very bleak future in front of them. But we see over here that Krishna is Din Vatsal. He is very, very compassionate to the most fallen souls, poor and fallen souls. So after Narkasur was killed, Bhumi Devi praises the Lord, and she praises the Lord very, very beautifully. Like saying that yes, he's the this his verses were these verses were discussed in the previous sessions. I won't go deep into them, but especially the verses, where she's describing his lotus feet, lotus navel, everything. It reminded me so much of Kunti Devi's prayers, all very beautiful. And after praising him sufficiently, she brings forward the son of the Narkasur, who's actually her grandson, and says to the Lord that he's very frightened. And she entreats the Lord, she pleads to the Lord that please accept him, place your loving hand on him, and grant him fearlessness. And because of Bhumi Devi's great devotion, Krishna agrees to give fearlessness. And we'll discuss about this fearlessness later. But when I read this, it reminded me so much of the incident of um, Mother Surbi. Because of Mother Surbi, Indra was forgiven. And Indra had actually committed like a huge offense by sending this whole downpour of rain, and had caused so much of distress to the Vrajvasis. And yes, no doubt, all the Vrajvasis had come together, leaving aside all their daily activities, and they had had a wonderful time for full 7 days and 7 nights with Krishna. But nonetheless, it was an offense to them. They had to undergo so much of distress, all the cows and all the cowherd community. And there is and it's mentioned that when Krishna kept Govardhan Hill back, and him and his friends, they were just like going around and seeing whether everything on the hill was okay. At that time, Mother Surabhi comes in the form of a cow, and she prays to Krishna and says that Krishna, you are the real king. You are the king of cows. You are the real Indra, actually. And she bathed Krishna with her own milk. And from that day onwards, he's called Govind, the one uh, who is the maintainer and who captures the minds of the cows. And then Indra also came. He followed Mother Surabhi because he was so embarrassed to come by himself. And he was genuinely humbled by this whole incident. And he bathed Krishna also as per Mother Surabhi's orders. And he also declared Krishna as the king of all the cowherds. And Mother Surabhi requested Krishna to forgive Indra because he was genuinely sorry. And till that time, Krishna had not even looked in the direction of Indra. But because Mother Surabhi had taken the form of a cow, and she had um, prayed to Krishna specifically for Indra, he was forgiven. And we see that Krishna gives so much importance to, the prayers of his pure devotees. And that is the only way in which we have any hope, is that a pure devotee is praying for us. Because Krishna is Bhakta Vatsal. He is, he's never going to not listen to his pure devotees. And for us, our pure devotee who is praying for us, who is recommending us back to the spiritual world, is Srila Prabhupada. And yes, he in one sense is like our own Bhumi Devi, our own Surabhi mother. Yeah, as a father, as a mother, whatever um, way as we, like they say that the guru is like the father. So he is actually like Prabhupada is actually taking care of us. He's the one who's recommending us back to Krishna. And so it again brings out another important quality. As I mentioned, Krishna is Bhakta Vatsal. He's Deen Vatsal. He's also Bhakta Vatsal. In fact, when Narakasur had offended Krishna, it was not even Bhumi Devi's fault. In fact, initially, Krishna had come on this planet Earth just for Bhumi Devi. And we see another incident that I remembered in this whole pastime was that in which, he is giving this kind of fearlessness was and promising to help and always taking care is, even in the case of Kubja, the hunchback, who was healed by Krishna because of her service. The Lord just pressed his foot on her and, pulled her up. And she was healed by his divine touch and she regained her beauty and she was satisfied. And he had promised her, just like he had promised Akrura, that I will come back after I finish killing Kamsa and, my duties here are over. And well, Akrura and Kubja had nothing, they could do nothing more. They just had to wait for their Lord to come back and they held on to his promise. So you see, this is what Krishna does. He removes the burden, the burden of 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 sins or whatever it may be that may be pulling us away from him. Definitely in case of Bhumi Devi, there was no sin, but it's just her task. She's like the mother who's holding everyone. And Bhumi Devi's burden was removed and she was also given fearlessness. So I want to touch on this aspect of fearlessness right now, that when you hear the word fearlessness, it comes time and again in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavad Puran. What is the thing that you think, what does fearlessness mean to you? What are we afraid of? And what is it that Krishna is going to um, do, to take away that fear from us? What is it, what does fearlessness basically mean to you all? So I want to ask this question to whoever is assembled over here, and then we'll discuss about this further, because this is a very, very important aspect as we as devotees should try to understand. Courage, okay. Anything else? Anyone would like to say something? Wait, I'm not able to see if anyone's hands are up. Yes, Adi Purush Prabhu, is your hand up?
Yeah, we were reading recently in the Bhagavatam that it said, unless we fully surrender, we'll not be free from fear.
Mm.
When we surrender to Krishna, nothing to protect, nothing to gain, nothing to lose. Lord, I'm yours, do with me as you like. As long as we have attachment, there's going to be fear.
Mm.
Said also that unless we surrender fully, we can't actually be loving. So these are byproducts of surrender. But
Mm.
Jaya Matri want to say something.
Mm. Yes, that was a very important thing. Attachments. Okay, that was a good point. And full surrender to Krishna. Yes, anyone else? Oh, wait, I see some answers even over here on the chat. Courage, security, having faith. Yes, good. Krishna is my ultimate well-wisher and protector. Okay, this question I'll deal with later. To be sure, to be fixed, to be confident, to go forward. Okay, that's a good one. Not being afraid of being born again because one is a surrendered devotee. Okay. Freedom from worry about any harm to loved ones, especially our children. Okay. Yeah, that again is like attachments. Yes. Okay. Anyone else would like to say something or add something to this list, which is already there in the chat? Okay. So yes, one of our biggest fears is definitely it's caused by our attachments. So attachments come because of our material conception of life, because we identify ourselves so much with our body. So, yes, one of the things when Krishna bestows fearlessness is that he makes us understand and makes us realize that we are not this body. We're ultimately connected to him as part and parcels. We are souls connected to him. And this is a very basic concept. This is the first thing that we actually learn in the Bhagavad Gita, but which we forget. And that is how this whole material conception just keeps, getting more deep and deep and deep, unless and until we take shelter of Krishna and surrender fully to him. And another um, big fear of devotees is that we forget Krishna. So when we actually have fearlessness, when Krishna bestows fearlessness, he is actually um, giving us the blessing that we will always be able to remember him. Because even to remember Krishna, it requires Krishna's blessings. It requires his hand on our head that, yes, the fact that you will remember me every time, the fact that we can remember Krishna every time is also something given to us by Krishna. So for devotees, the biggest fear is forgetting Krishna. And when he bestows fearlessness upon us, it means he is giving us the ability to always remember him at all times. Again, another basic concept. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. So you see, this fearlessness stems from the fact that we forget the basics of why we actually join Krishna consciousness. It's because we forget we are a soul intimately connected to Krishna, and because we are always told to always remember Krishna, and we forget that. So, yes, Krishna is the ultimate reality. And yes, and the only way in which we can actually I just read this nice purport from of Srila Prabhupada in Canto 2. Wait, I've just mentioned it over here somewhere. Yes, in Canto 2, chapter 2, verse number 5, it's mentioned by Prabhupada that everyone can become a fearless and honest person if his very existence is purified by discharging the prescribed duty for each and every order of life. One can become fixed in one's prescribed duty by faithful oral reception of Vedic instructions and assimilation of the essence of Vedic knowledge by devotional service to the Lord. So that's it. We just practice bhakti yoga. Again, it's mentioned by Prabhupada in a purport in Canto 4, chapter 24, and verse number 52, that by practicing Bhagavad Bhakti Yoga, one becomes fearless and joyful. And unless one becomes fearless and joyful, he cannot understand the science of God. Bhagavad Tattva Vijnana Mukta Sangasya Jayate. So this verse refers to those who are completely liberated from the fearfulness of this material world. And when one is so liberated, he can really understand the transcendental features of the form of the Lord. So that's it. That's all we are supposed to do. Our own protector, our own Acharya, the one who's recommending us, Srila Prabhupada, has given us everything. He's given us the means to be fearless. He's the one who has told us that, yes, just chant the holy names of Krishna, just hear Shrimad Bhagavad Puran every day, and follow all the regulative principles. Just properly follow Bhakti Yoga, serve the devotees, serve the holy names, serve the Dham, and then that's it. You will get fearlessness. So what Bhumi Devi is essentially asking for her grandson is something that Prabhupada is also like asking for, like asking of all of us, that yes, we do our part in Krishna consciousness, and then Krishna will bestow his blessings and put his loving hand on us. And this is actually, and the reason why this is possible is because, again, this is the nature of Krishna. It is his nature to be Bhaktavatsal. It's his nature to bestow fearlessness. Recently, I read this verse because we had Ram Navami recently, just a few weeks ago, almost like I think around 2 weeks ago or something. And there is this very, very famous quote by Lord Ramchandra. It is mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrit Madhya Leela. I think I got it from Madhya Leela, chapter 22, verse 34, in which I'll read the verse. It's from Ramayana, from the Yuddha Kand. Sakrit eva prapanno yas tavasmiti cha yayate abhayam sarvada tasme dadami etad vritam mama. It is my vow that if one only once seriously surrenders unto me, saying, my dear Lord, from this day I am yours, and prays to me for courage, I shall immediately award courage to that person, and he will always remain safe from that time on. So this verse was actually spoken by Lord Ramchandra when in reference to Vibhishan, that yes, Vibhishan was the brother of Ravan. And yes, obviously, when he had come with some of his demon associates to take shelter of Lord Ram, all the monkeys were, except for Hanuman, they were saying that, oh, he could be a spy, he's come to infiltrate our gang and everything. But Lord Ram said that, no, if he is coming here to surrender to me, and if he says, I'm yours, I will accept his surrender and I will consider him as my own. So this shows that that Lord Ram was willing to accept him and award him fearlessness, even though he was actually from the enemy camp. And thus the doubts of Sugriva were removed. So This is the same thing. The same concept is shown over here, that the Lord agreed to bestow fearlessness upon Bhumi Devi's grandson because he was scared and he needed shelter. And based on the prayers of Bhumi Devi, he was given courage. Um, Another reason we see that Krishna also did not himself want to rule Pragjotishpur, which is Bhaumasur's kingdom, because his main reason to come there was actually only to help the princesses, and he was fine uh, if the current kings, the king who had died, if his son was able to rule in a dharmic way, in a way properly abiding by the rules and moral rules and standards that a king is supposed to follow. Krishna was not behind the kingdom. He was okay. He's happy to give the kingdom by others to rule. In the same way that Krishna never wanted anything for himself. He just wanted a good, well-established ruler who is following the rules that are, that a king is supposed to follow properly and take care of his subjects in a dharmic way, lead them in their course further to Krishna consciousness. He just wants a dharmic leader to rule the kingdom. His main motive to come to Pragjotishpur is actually just to help the princesses. And we see that when Krishna goes to the inner chambers, uh, where no man was allowed except for Bhaumasur. And so we see that maybe it's by providence or whatever it may be, that Krishna saw all the princesses and all the princesses saw Krishna. 16,100, they all saw Krishna at the same time. So this is again bringing out another aspect of Krishna, is his super excellent powers of being visible to everyone at the same time. Because all the princesses saw Krishna, and within their heart, internally, they accepted him as their husband. They were so worried till that time about themselves, because in those times, it was in the Vedic times, it was that once you're touched or kidnapped by someone else, nobody would be willing to marry them. Like their lives were, like, in one sense, like it was decided, their destiny was decided. Either the one who has kidnapped you, that person marries you, in this case, who was a demon and who's killed, or that's it. Nobody else is even going to touch you. Nobody else would want you as your would be able to marry them again. That's how strict the moral codes were in those days. Um, so how are they going to live their lives now? And imagine the distress that the kings whose daughters they were, they would be under so much distress. They would have to take care of their daughter, till the end of their life. But and I'm sure that in such a case, a woman, I mean, I'm sure these princesses would have even contemplated suicide so many times. But Krishna, being Krishna, the Deen Vatsal that he is, he saw them, um, and they were enchanted by his beauty, and he very compassionately agreed and accepted all of them, 16,100, as his wives, even though they did not even say anything about it. But within their heart, because Krishna is the super soul within everyone's heart, he understood the feelings of all these 16,100 maidens, and he accepted them as his wives. And this is also um, another aspect of Krishna comes out over here, that in whatever transcendental mellow a devotee worships Krishna, Krishna reciprocates with them in that way. That is his natural behavior. So all these girls wanted Krishna as their husband, and that was accepted by the Lord. Um, Krishna, like he wanted, like Krishna took care of not just like the daughters, but even of their kings. Just by one stroke, Krishna solved so many problems. So many desires were fulfilled. Nothing is impossible for Krishna. He's also a Kshatriya. So, Kshatriyas, they have, we read in the previous chapters that in how he kidnaps Rukmini, and how because it was Rukmini's desire to marry Krishna. And, as a Kshatriya, he had to fight had to fight bulls and all of that to win one of his wives, Nagnajiti. So we see that in the same way, Krishna stole or kidnapped all these 16,100 maidens merely by his beauty. So again, so many aspects of Krishna just coming out in just these three verses. Nothing is impossible for Krishna, in just by his divine presence, so many things are accomplished. No one, and the thing is that no one was even disappointed. All these 16,100 maidens, they married Krishna, and they were given separate palaces in the city of Dwarka. And Krishna gave each and every one of them 10 sons after their marriage. And all of them had qualities just like Krishna. And it's not that because there were 16,100 wives, it's not that, oh, we have to wait for eternity, for our husband to come to us. Maybe once in a blue moon, he'll come to our palace and, we'll be able to associate with him. No, Krishna expanded himself into 16,108 to be precise, at each and every night. And he went and he gave good time to each and every one of his wives, gave good time to each and every one of his sons. And in the morning and during the daytime, when as a king he had to go back to, to ruling the kingdom, to his Sudharma uh, room, or palace, wherever the meetings would be held, all the Krishnas from 16,108 palaces would come. They would all become one. And there was one Krishna at the ruling at the as Dwarkadhish. And again, when it was the evening time, they would all expand. Krishna expanded into 16,108 and went to each and every of his palaces. So that's what Krishna does. And this was, and see, another thing was also, which I realized while reading these verses, is because why was this possible? Because we see like so many, like so much of devotion is coming out in just in these verses. One is the pure love and devotion of Bhumi Devi, and one is the devotion of these 16,108 princesses. Because you can't have Krishna as your husband if you don't have divine love and devotion towards him. It has to be really strong. Only then Krishna will expand and like come specifically for you. And we see that Krishna did this even during even the Rasa Leela. Why? Because the love of the gopis was very strong. He expanded so that he was with each and every gopi. He did this even for the cowherd boys when they would have their lunch together. Like all the cowherd boys felt that Krishna was only looking at them. He was eating just from their tiffin. Whereas see, that's how Krishna works. He expanded himself, or even though Krishna was sitting there, each and every one felt that Krishna was just with them. And this was why, because of their love and devotion, the love and devotion of the cowherd boys. Krishna expanded himself for an entire year in Vrindavan when Lord Brahma took away all the cowherd boys and the calves. So Krishna expanded himself as all the cowherd boys and all the calves, and for an entire year, he was divinely nourished by all the mothers of Vrindavan. And they didn't know why, but they loved Krishna even more than their own children. So you see, Krishna definitely reciprocates to the extent to which we show our love and dedication towards him. Yes, he's Deen Vatsal and he's Bhakta Vatsal, but also we have to be proper bhaktas to have that kind of reciprocation from Krishna. So yes, we need to pray to Srila Prabhupada, to our Gurujan, to our previous acharyas, that yes, we can pray and be as dedicated and devoted as someday we will reach this level of devotion of Bhumi Devi, of these 16,108 princesses. We have to have that strong desire to want to have Krishna as our husband, to want to have Krishna's protection. Right now, we are seeking to take protection and we are seeking to get fearlessness from material objects, from our relationships, from our attachments, from our family. But all of this is going to end someday or the other. Our only real fearlessness is going to come when we take shelter of Krishna and his devotees. When we ourselves want to have that desire to have Krishna as our husband, as our eternal husband, as our eternal protector. And for that, we have to do our own bit as well. And yes, then depend on the mercy of Prabhupada, our Guru, and ultimately Krishna. So I will end my class here with these prayers to Srila Prabhupada. and I'll open it for any questions, corrections, comments, as the case may be.
Hare Krishna, Nandini, Radhika, Prabhu. We have a question in the chat by
Yes.
Prashant. Prabhu, I don't know if he wants to read the question himself, please.
I can read it. So it's related to the fearlessness theme that you had done. So, it makes intellectual sense. And also in the previous lecture, we learned about us all being temporary. We are all playing temporary roles. But I just struggle to implement it in action with when it comes to my 3-year-old child, right? He looks so fragile, and there is dangers everywhere. And like you said, Bhumasur was initially good, but in the company of demons he became bad. Those bad companies and those things are all over the social media, and kids get influenced and see them at a very young age. So I just want to pick your brain as to how to translate that into action.
So our first way of looking at this is that our child is a child given to us by Krishna, and we have to nourish the child, knowing that we have to ultimately give our child back to Krishna as a pure devotee. In the scriptures, it is mentioned that now this is a very high standard, no doubt, that nobody should become a mother or a father or a guru or a king unless they are able to um, make sure that the people who they are taking care of, which is your child or your subjects or your disciples, as the case may be, you're able to liberate them. So that's a very, very high standard set for anyone to become a parent or a guru or a king, or basically be in a kind of like a leadership position where you're supposed to take care of someone. But one of the things that we have to look at it is that this child or this person is given to us by Krishna. See, it requires a shift within us. We have to have faith, and we have to have enough faith in Krishna to be able to understand this simple aspect also. As I said, many times we just forget the basics. We forget that we are also a child of Krishna, and if Krishna is giving us a child, that child is also a divine blessing of Krishna. So we have to mold and take care of the child like that way. And for that, it requires us, we have to do whatever it can to take care and protect the child. As you're saying, that yes, we have to protect the child from the evil influence of, say, whatever's going on social media. Then yes, as a parent, that's your duty. You have to do that. There is no, these relationships might seem temporary. They are temporary on a very material level, on a physical level, but on a spiritual level, we all are connected to each other as souls. And if Krishna has given a soul to you to take care of, it is your duty to take care of that soul to the best of your ability. And that means making sure that uh, that that your child is fragile. It's depending on you. So yes, you have to take care of the child. And there is no material concept in that. It's actually a very spiritual, it's an important part, because spirituality is not just like, okay, it's just not soul connected. When you talk about taking care of someone spiritually, it also means taking care of their basic human necessities also. Because unless those basic human necessities are taken care of, uh, no matter whatever you take care of the spiritual aspect, it won't be taken care of. If you're not giving anyone enough food, they're not going to be able to uh, listen to whatever you're going to say. Okay, yes, you're the soul, this, that, everything. So yes, taking care of these basic needs, protecting your child is important. But with what is the end goal in your mind, that should be clear. Your end goal should be that, yes, I am taking care of this child, not because this child is my child, it's because it's Krishna's child. So that requires a shift in the way we perceive things. And that is the only way in which we can actually go ahead in all our relationships without being attached to them. This attachment that we have right now is because we are considering ourselves that I am this person. I am Nandini, Radhika. This is my child. This is my husband. This is my father. This is my mother. No. Everyone belongs to Krishna ultimately. I'm somehow in connection with these people, and it is my duty as a person right now to take care of them, knowing that ultimately I'm accountable to Krishna for them. Krishna's going to ask me at the end of everything, what did you take? How did you take care of them? I have to give a proper answer to Krishna that yes, I took care of them spiritually, while not neglecting their mental, emotional, and physical needs. So I hope that answers the question.
Yes, that and a few others also. So very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, yes. Any other questions?
Yes, we have a question, another question in the chat from Popi Prabhu. She's unable to ask herself. She's asking, can a devotee desire to have multiple relationships as one with Krishna, like in terms of a husband, friend, partner, child? So is that all possible in one lifetime?
Devotee desire to have multiple relations. Oh, that's like a deep question. To have multiple relationships at once. I mean, in our spiritual forms, we have one of these many relationships with Krishna. With time, it will be revealed to us. I mean, at sometimes we might feel that, okay, you know what, the form of Krishna as a baby is the cutest. So yes, I wish he could be my, maybe, I wish he could be like my child. Or I wish, okay, as you grow more, as you might read some verses in connection with his pastime with his devotee, with with the cowherd boys, you might want him as a friend. Or then you might read more deeper pastimes, with his relationship with the gopis, or with his wives or something, and you might desire to have him as a husband or as a lover, which is all fine as long as there is devotion in there, and not with a desire to have Krishna as your husband, friend, partner, child, or whatever as the case may be, for our own sense gratification. Why do you want to have these relationships with Krishna? I think that is a more important thing. Is it because Krishna will fulfill your maternal desire, or is it because you want to give your maternal love to Krishna? Is it because you want Krishna to love you? Is it because you want to love Krishna? So that, I think, is an important question. But at least from a spiritual perspective, from whatever I have heard from my seniors, and from whatever I've heard so far, from say Acharya's texts or something, we in general have, in our spiritual form, we have like one of the many relationships, and with time, that relationship will be revealed to us, and yes, and we'll be the most happy in that relationship. We would not want to change that once it's revealed to us what it is. Right now it may be okay, because we're hearing so many pastimes of, say with the gopis and Krishna, we might be, oh, I want to become a gopi, I hope I'm one of those. But yeah, you might come to know you're actually in, say, another rasa with Krishna, and with time your devotion would become sufficient enough that yes, you'll be happy in that relationship. So is this the same? Yes, you have raised your hand. You want to speak? Yes, please.
Yes, I thank you, the Mother Priya Prabhu, for asking on my behalf, and thank you so much for so beautifully answering. Just one follow-up question, as you asked, what's the purpose or what's my intention behind wanting all these relationships? And the answer that I could think of at this point of my life is because I am craving those, because I don't have those relationships with my immediate family as I would like, to be a mom, to have a husband, to have a supportive parent, to have supportive sibling, so those are my intention right now. But I don't know if it also feels like selfish and greedy to want all that because I don't have it. And I think I'm struggling to kind of find out, okay, Krishna, I don't know how I can have you right now. And I think right now I'm kind of trying to work on my relationship with him as a friend now. But yeah, I think I have a desire in my heart to also kind of ask him, so can I also have you as my child? Can I also have you this? Then I pause and I'm like, I'm human with limits. I don't think I can see Krishna as an child now because I'm not going to be able to be his mom, giving with work schedule and all that. So then I will feel guilty that I'm not a good mom. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that was a very good point you mentioned that yes, right now a lot of us have many lackings in relationships. So one of the biggest way in which we can um, fulfill that gap in our life is by having Krishna, having all our relationships centered around Krishna and wanting Krishna to be that. And that's fine. With time, okay, I think I'll discuss this point. I want to discuss this point a little bit after the class if you all
Yeah,
are
can you
available.
stay a little bit after?
Yes,
Nandini?
yes, yes.
Okay, thank
After we have darshan, yes. Thank you.
Jai Shri Shri Radha Muladhar, Shri Gaur Chandra, Shri Jeffrey Eckler and his Super Soul Ki Jai. Okay, Nandini Radhika, please.
Yes. So just in context with what Poppy was saying, that I think this is a problem that we all face in our relationships nowadays, is because we don't have uh, our social structure environment around us is such that we are not unfortunately able to have enough support from our parents, or we don't have that relationship with our spouse, we don't have a child, or we don't have that relationship with our child because of whatever XYZ reasons. We don't have friends who we can rely on, as the case may be, because yes, the effects of Kali Yuga are such that in all these relationships, somehow they become exploitative in nature, in the sense that people want to take more from the relationships rather than give. So that is why we feel this lacking within us. We are unfulfilled because these relationships around us are not nourishing. And in a proper, well balanced, nourished relationship, there's a proper give and take. We give some and we take some. The thing with in a relationship with Krishna is that there is so much of abundance of love coming from Krishna that we will actually never feel any lacking. So yes, it's always good to keep Krishna in the focus in whatever relationships we want. Like, yes, I wish I could have a partner like Krishna, or I wish I could have a child like Krishna. I wish I had a parent or a friend or whatever, as the case may be, like Krishna. So there's no harm in that. But I think, again, I will go back to what I said earlier, is that yes, you want to have a relationship with Krishna. That is really very good, because we understand the importance of Krishna in our lives. But I think with time, it should be more of, yes, I want to have this relationship with Krishna because I want to serve Krishna. That is the most important thing. I want to have my relationship as a child, as a friend, um, as a parent, or whatever it is, with Krishna, because I genuinely love Krishna. I have that devotion towards Krishna. So yes, initially, if we want to have all these relationships with Krishna, as Krishna being our main focus in our lives, to fulfill some emotional gaps in our life, it is totally fine, because yes, it's Krishna. And with whatever way we start in our relationship with Krishna, it is fine, because Krishna, with his divine presence in our lives, is going to purify us so much, so that with time we will want to genuinely have those relationships with Krishna, to serve him, to love him, without expecting anything in return. And yes, don't worry, Krishna will give in return much more than what even we can give him. They say that if you take one step towards Krishna, he will take 10 or maybe 100 steps towards us. So yes, we will feel, even, it's not that because we will be so devoted to Krishna, we don't expect anything in return, that, oh, we won't get anything in return. The fact is that Krishna will give. He will give much, much more than what we can ever give him. So yes, as a starting point in anyone's life, it is important that yes, this is a good thing, that yes, if you want to have all your relationships with Krishna, that's totally fine. Just with time, be rest assured that it will come to a point where you will want to give more to Krishna, provided you follow bhakti yoga properly, provided you chant and you try to do things which please Krishna. Then Krishna will give you much, much more. You'll realize Krishna's presence in your life in a much more deeper way. You will have a much more deeper fulfillment in your life than wanting him to fulfill your desires. The happiness that you feel in that, it'll be 1,000 times more when you actually genuinely start loving him, and when you see how much he's loving you back. So I hope that answers your question.
You answered way more than I'm speechless, and I'm just so grateful, and thank you so much. Yeah, you answered it very well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nandini Radhika. Nandini
Yes.
Radhika, is it true that the relationship that one may have with Krishna, they progress and include the previous one? Like dasa rasa is part of all the rasas, and then conjugal rasa includes friendship. It includes servitorship, sometimes neutrality. Like my wife told me yesterday that my rasa with you is shantaras, neutrality. When you get on my nerves, I'm indifferent to you. Yeah, so it's all included. So multiple relationships are available. They kind of included, like a Russian doll, right?
Yeah,
Is that
like yeah, in that sense, it's all included. Like for example, Vatsalya includes Vatsalya, it includes Shanta, Dasya, Sakhya, and Vatsalya. But you see, the main predominant feature in Vatsalya is the maternal love. It includes everything, like all the rasas. See, all the rasas in their own rights are wonderful, and you'll be happy and content in all of them. And when they say that this includes the previous rasas, it just means in the form of intimacy. Like Vatsalya is more intimate than a dasya, like as a servant or as a friend. Definitely the paternal or the maternal relationship is much more intimate. And a conjugal is even more intimate than that. So in that sense, it includes everything. And the underlying relationship with Krishna and all of these rasas is dasya, in the sense that all of these relationships are done not as like in a very not like in the dasya way, like how we see Hanumanji doing it, but dasya in the sense it's all meant to serve Krishna. So that is the dasya spirit that is imbibed in all of these relationships. So yes, the acharyas say that um, as the intimacy level increases, it includes all the other ones below them. But again, in conjugal, the main thing is that yes, it's the conjugal relationship. It includes the others in the form that intimacy level has already been crossed. The intimacy level that I experienced with Krishna and Sakhya, that is already included, because yes, the gopis did consider Krishna as their friend. He was their like friend, because you can only be, it's not that your lover is just your lover. He even has to be your friend also. And you also have to have that loving, nurturing relationship with your spouse, which is very much prevalent in Vatsalya. So in that sense, the intimacy level is increasing. So yes, they include all the previous uh the other rasas in that, which are like preceding them. In that sense, yes, they include them.
Yeah, thank you, Nandini Radhika. I'm looking at Adi Purusha Prabhu, and he's like my
Yes.
senior, my grandfather, my father, my son. Also, I have parental feelings towards Adi, my friend, partner in crime. It's all available.
I'm the fly in the soup of your life.
Hare Krishna.
Yes,
Well,
that's the beauty of Krishna. Like we can experience so many relationships with him, because that's also how Krishna is there, in our lives. We feel so many like emotions and feelings towards him, and that's all fine, as long as it's with the love and devotion aspect. That's it. I think that's the underlying thing of everything.
Yeah, thank you, Nandini Radhika. Okay,
Yes.
anyone wants to speak in line with Guru Sadhu and Shastra? Speak, Adi Purusha Prabhu.
yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, an interesting aspect of this story is the mother praying for the boy. And I was thinking recently about many people in my life who said to me, I'm praying for you.
Mm.
Mataji was explaining how Srila Prabhupada is praying for his disciples. And I was thinking it's incumbent upon us also to pray for each other. And forgiveness is there. The two themes, praying for another person's benefit. And sometimes I find myself talking about another devotee, and then I catch myself and I say to whoever I'm talking to, well, we should pray for this person. Krishna, show us how to help him, how to please him, help him come closer to you. So we can pray for each other. That's an interesting thing to remember, that we can invoke Krishna's help for the benefit of somebody else. And that idea of forgiveness is so powerful because we all make mistakes. Gosh. So we're going to ask Mataji to pray for us, since she's such a good devotee. Please pray for us that we can.
My goodness.
We want to be like you when we grow up. Okay?
Goodness. I hope I can have some of your zeal and enthusiasm. I have none of it that you have, Adipurush Prabhu. Day in, day out, serving and giving out so much compassion in the form of prasadam to all the most fallen people, including me. because you come every day to the temple and give us your darshan, that's how you are feeding and nourishing me. And you're even feeding and nourishing the souls out over there with Krishna's prasadam.
Whatever appreciation you might direct toward me, I say, "Oh, glories to Srila Prabhupada." Without his grace, we have nothing, right? Oh,
Yes,
glories.
yes. That was a very nice point that Adipurush Prabhu made, that yes, we seek the prayers of devotees for ourselves, and at the same time, the way how we can develop our own compassionate nature is by when we pray for other devotees, and the prayer has to be genuine. It's not that I know I don't remember who this person is, but he's like a very I believe he's like a guru in our movement. I'm sorry, I don't remember, but I know that someone had told me about him, that one of his disciples prayed to him, or had called his guru and said that my wife is unwell, or someone in his family was unwell, and that guru had said that yes, I will pray for that person. And when the guru kept the phone, he took out his bead bag and he genuinely started chanting for that devotee. So see, this is he was showing by example. I wish I knew who it was. I would love to glorify that guru, that senior devotee in our movement. Because see, he was genuinely, he got out his bead bags and he was chanting for the devotee. He was bringing out he was showing that he genuinely cared for his disciples to make sure that they were okay. And this is what even we are supposed to do. Yes, while in our own way, we are praying to our own gurus, seeking their mercy, praying to the devotees, seeking their intervention so that Krishna might accept us. It also behooves us to pray for the devotees. Because, yes, that's also what Krishna wants. Jeev Daya, Nam Ruchi, Vaishnav Seva. Yeah, so we're doing Nam Ruchi Vaishnav Seva, but Jeev Daya is also there. That is also an important part of our divine way of going back to Krishna, that we show Jeev Daya also. So thank you. That was a very nice point. Yes, Damodar Priya Devi.
Hare Krishna. I just wanted to say that that's very much in the mood of a lot of times of the Srila Prabhupada disciples, because I've seen it. I live here in Alachua where we have a lot of Srila Prabhupada disciples, and a big part of the seva that a lot of them do is that they have a prayer circle, and you can send like a message through the website to ask them to pray, and they will genuinely pray for you. And also like Rukmini Walker Prabhu, who's a very dear teacher of mine, she meets so many people in her life, and when she finds out that something's going on and they like someone's not well or whatever, she will genuinely, like, she has a prayer list that she has in her refrigerator, and she will write their name down and she will pray for these people every single day. And you know that if she says, I will pray for you, like she's genuinely praying for you. So there is that sincerity. But we are way over time, and we're so grateful for your time, Nandini, Radhika Prabhu.
Yes, thank you.
If we should wrap up.
Yes, thank you all so much. It was a very nice and enriching class, even personally for me. You all have asked very, very good questions. So we'll end over here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai.
Nandini Radhika Devi ki jai.
Glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Damodar Priya. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.